fought one prosper, run me win. This is your friend James. Poverty doctrine is not inside the doctrines of the Christians. It just doesn't exist. It's completely outside of our canon, and it couldn't be. I mean, it's just, if you could actually look up and do research about poverty, it's not actually in Christian doctrine. It is in Catholic doctrine, but it's not actually in Christian doctrine. It's not something required of our preachers. It's not even based off the 66th canon of the Word of God for Christians and Jews. And so the real bottom line about poverty doctrine is that people just really just either A, they're jealous because someone's famous with a lot of people. B, they're haters of God. So when they see a rich person with money who has lots of influence, they don't like it. Or C, they just don't want to cough up the cash when it's time to pay their tithes. So let's start. Poverty doctrine, rich preachers, they're biblical, they exist. Solomon was a rich preacher. He was one of the richest people on the planet. He had 1.2 or 2 point something trillion dollar net worth if it was brought to modern time. Ecclesiastes 1:1, we all know Solomon was the one who wrote Ecclesiastes. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. Ecclesiastes 1:1 and 1:12. Solomon was a rich preacher. He flat out called himself one. We haven't been able to refute it. He was a rich preacher. Jesus was a rich preacher, obviously. I mean, they cast lots for his vesture. If he was poor, I mean, come on. Judas was the treasurer and a thief. So obviously, there had to be enough money in there for Judas to be stealing what was in the bag. I mean, they were even talking about that ointment that lady had that was like a year's wages that would have been sold to the poor. Judas would have got the money and he would have been able to steal the money. So obviously, they weren't talking about really, really low stuff. Jesus obviously was not poor. Poverty is a curse. Do research in the Old Testament. Paul obviously wasn't poor. Acts 24:25-26. And he reasoned, and as he reasoned of righteousness and temperance and judgment to come, Felix trembled and answered, Go thy way for this time, when I have a convenient season, I will call for thee. He hoped, this is Felix, the king, he hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him. Wherefore he sent for him the oftener and commune with him. He hoped that money would be given him of Paul. Now, if Paul was poor, why would the king be expecting Paul to be able to give him money to get loosed? Why would the king expect a gift or a bribe to be able to come from Paul if Paul was poor? This is not a scriptural concept of poor preachers. Not in the Christian mainstream, Protestant religion. It's not there. Abraham was a prophet. Literally, he's referred to as a prophet. Genesis 27. God spoke to Abimelech. Now therefore restore this man his wife, for he is a prophet. And he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. That is, Abraham was literally referred to as a prophet. If you read the New Testament, God sent apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists for the perfecting of the ministry. They're all still there. They all exist today. But Abraham is actually named as a prophet, one of the people who represent God. And he obviously was not poor. So there is your laying the groundwork. We have named 3 people. We named 4 people: Solomon, Jesus, Paul, Abraham. If they're not on the same level of Solomon, Jesus, Paul, or Abraham, if they're not in the Bible, Daniel wasn't poor. He was the chief president in the Babylonian Empire. David wasn't poor. Think about these people. These people were not poor. So, but there's our four folks we want to talk about to let you know that, first of all, the concept of a rich preacher is scriptural. Live, move, be.